Beating the odds, that's exactly what one Bakersfield rapper has been doing since he found a passion for rhyme. But the question is, how is he doing that? Well, I had a chance to find out what makes him so unique. Take a look.
Hi, Tyra.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's been a while, hasn't it? For those that don't know,
My official title is anchor/reporter, and that can mean many different things. Every morning, I start off anchoring traffic for about 3 hours for our morning show. After that, I'll either report or anchor the news on the desk. So that's what I did
so
today.
let me ask you this: do you look at traffic differently because you do traffic for the news?
I do. Now I do. Whenever I'm driving, I think whenever I see a crash, whenever I see road work, I always think about it.
I could totally see that. You're like, yeah, that'll be on the news on Monday.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how long have you lived in Seattle?
Almost 2 years.
And you've been working for Como for almost 2 years.
Correct.
Now, before you left, you worked in Bakersfield, right?
It was in Bakersfield, yes.
Some people don't like to admit that, but that's a different story for a different time.
Bakersfield was amazing for me. I loved living there. I miss it actually all the time.
What do you miss about it?
The food, the closeness of the town. You know, when you are living in a smaller place and then move into such a big city, you know, it's a big difference. And miss a lot of my old coworkers. A lot of them that I became really good friends with. So we still keep in touch. But yeah, I miss New Vintage Grill. That was my favorite place to eat.
I actually went there the other day.
Delicious.
Now, before you left Bakersfield, you did a story about me. Yay!
I did.
Before we go into that, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for changing my life forever. Now, I think you've told me this before, but I'm not sure. How'd you discover me?
Yeah, so word of mouth. So there's usually two ways I get my story ideas. It's either word of mouth or online, social media. I remember, actually, it was kind of a mix between word of mouth and social media for you. So I remember I was covering like a charity event for the Ronald McDonald House, and my photographer at the time was saying like, oh, like there's actually a local artist showcase happening soon in support of the Ronald McDonald House charities. Do you remember that? And so then I looked up the information and I found you. Then I found your YouTube, and then I was like, this is awesome. Love what he's doing. This needs to be on the news.
Dude, the Ronald McDonald House is amazing. To this day, Scarlett at the Bakersfield Ronald McDonald House chapter is one of my best friends. She's like the nicest woman in the world.
She's great.
Basically, what happened is live music in Bakersfield is like non-existent. And like there's only a handful of venues here in town that'll actually book live music. And then there's even fewer that'll book, you know, hip hop or rap, which is the genre of music that I make. So what I wanted to do was to showcase that Bakersfield has a lot of good rappers here in town, not just me.
Right.
Even though I am the best. So I wanted to showcase them, and I wanted to show the city of Bakersfield that we could come together for a good cause, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I love it.
And I ended up choosing Tumblr because I wanted to be different, because most, like 95% of the hip hop shows here in town go at Jerry's Pizza downtown off of Chester. So I was like, let's do Tumblr and let's show them that we can do this and be different and yada yada. And unfortunately, that didn't go according to plan the way I planned.
No.
And before I go into this any further, I'm going to preface this by saying that I am not knocking Tumblr in any way. Anyone watching this or listening to this right now can look at Tumblr's Instagram feed from September of 2019 and see exactly what I'm talking about. So basically, they wanted to charge me X amount of dollars to rent their space for a couple hours that night, which I was totally cool with. And then I was under the assumption that it was going to be like a collaborative show. Like I was going to promote it, they were going to promote it, and we were all going to meet in the middle. You follow what I'm saying?
I do.
So I sent them the flyer of everything, of all the performers' names on it, and they only posted it one time. They only posted it on Instagram one time, and that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, when you put a lot into an event and
and just like
it's tough.
Like I said, people can go and look on their Instagram feed of September of 2019 and only see it one time. And basically, the reason why it failed was because they weren't as passionate about it as I was, which is totally fine. But I just wish, in hindsight, that they would have been more forthcoming about it. Like, hey, this is what's going on. We got, this show coming up and that show coming up, and your show's kind of in the back somewhere. Yeah, it was just disheartening to put all that into it, tell all these people.
I had to sneeze.
Bless you. But yeah, it was just disheartening to put all these resources into it, tell everyone about it, and then, have nothing to show for it. So you discovered me that way.
That is how I discovered you. Yes. And long story short, that's how I discovered you. And I saw some of your YouTube videos online, and I pitched the story to my producers and showed them what I saw. And I said, hey, we should really do a feature on Jeff Metz. And they said, yes.
What was that like? Were they like, let's go? Or were they like kind of,
No, they were very on board with it. My producers at the time, they were very open to the stories that I pitched. And I do a morning show. So, it's important for us to show feel-good stories that people feel good about when they wake up in the morning. But what was different and more special about your story was that I think they loved it so much. They said, this should be for more than just the morning newscast at 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. This should also play in the evenings. So they ended up playing the story not only for the mornings, and on a day, like, I think it was Thanksgiving, or was it Christmas? I think it was.
No, it was Thanksgiving.
So Thanksgiving, it's coming up. So Thanksgiving, and then they played it again for the evening show. So, yeah, they were all on board with it. They loved it. We're all super happy we did that story.
And what I remember is that we filmed that story actually in like 2019.
2019, we filmed it like at the tail end of summer, I think, maybe even the fall of 2019.
Yeah. And it didn't air until like Thanksgiving of 2020.
A year later. Yeah, the pandemic took so much away from us. I think it was like right after we filmed that story. It must have been later in 2019, because I remember right after we started switching from like working from in the building to working from home, and a lot of our editing software, I never really saw my photographer, my editors. It was kind of like a lost cause with a lot of our stories that we had, that we were working on. We had to figure out how to do things.
I actually have the picture on my Instagram still that we took in front of that little, what was it, like car or whatever that was wrapped with eyewitness news. That was October 17th of 2019 when we filmed it. Oh, and I never told you this story. So you pitched the idea of getting one of my parents to partake in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was ultimately my father who partook in it. To get him to do it, like, he was nervous because up to that point, no one had said, hey, I want to talk to you about your son's music career, and all that stuff. So he didn't know how to react. But then I did some research on you, and I found out that you were from San Diego and everything like that.
Yeah.
So when I pitched it to him, I was like, hey, she's from La Jolla. And he's like, wait, really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I used to get my oil changed back. I used to get my oil changed there when you were a little kid.
What a small world, really.
And he's like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, cool.
Oh my gosh, your dad is awesome. He was honestly so kind to just let us into you guys' home and do the interview with us.
Yeah, he's like one of the nicest people ever. Like, ever since I told him that I wanted to be a rapper, he's supported me through everything. And like, I remember the very first show I did at Jerry's Pizza in 2015. And he was there in the front row. He didn't exactly know what was going on. All he knew was that I was performing, and he was like, let's do it. And he was there, and there's a picture on my Instagram right now. You could see him standing in the front row amongst a bunch of young people, all because I was there and I was performing for that 15 minutes or whatever it was. He's like, he supported me through everything.
I love that. It's so special. Well, how's it been for you since that story? How do you feel 2 years later?
Honest to God, like that story changed my life. When we pitched or when we filmed it and it took so long for it to get out, I kept thinking to myself, I was like, dude, they're gonna put it on their YouTube channel and like totally forget about it. And I was like, oh man, like I was so down because I was like, that's probably what's gonna happen. But then you DM me on Instagram and you're like, hey, it's coming out tomorrow. At like
Surprise.
at like 6 in the morning. It's coming out tomorrow. And I was like, wait, do what now? I still remember 2 years later, every time that story would come on, because it rotated throughout the day. And every time it would come on, my phone would ring. Someone would either call me or send me a text message. It was to the point where I literally had to throw my phone on my bed and just walk away because it kept going off. And I just remember like eating a turkey leg and walking through my house and just looking up and saying, hey, there I am.
That's a cool story. What
like,
a moment.
Yeah, like I wish someone was there to capture it, but I was just eating a turkey leg straight off the bone and just looking up and being like, oh my God.
That's fantastic.
And then I remember that weekend, I was looking at my YouTube analytics because I was like trying to figure out, what to post next. And I suddenly got like 10,000 views in 48 hours.
Wow.
And I was like, Tyra, what'd you do?
That's incredible.
I hardly go outside for anything other than music now. And it's like everything I dreamed about from when I was like 14 or 15 years old is happening now.
That's amazing.
And it's like, ew.
Living the dream.
Thanks to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And not only did I help you, it sounds like, but you also helped me. Doing that story really helped me open my eyes to just a whole nother genre of storytelling that I, wanted to dip and dabble into, but wasn't really sure I was capable of doing it.
Technically started Hometown Connections?
So yeah, that's kind of a branch off of that. I wanted to do something like that in Bakersfield, highlighting stories that were inspirational around the community. And I only got to doing 2 back in Bakersfield. I left before I could really get all settled into it. And so, yeah, here in Seattle, I'm super grateful. I get to tell more of those feature stories about people in the community, people inspiring others, and people who are beating the odds. That's what I called your story, beating the odds, because
it's still on my YouTube to this day. It's got like 20,000 or 22,000 views.
Yay! I should have put that on my YouTube account.
Now, I got to ask you a question.
Yes.
I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask you anyway for people out in YouTube land. How much did I pay you to get that story done?
$0. $0.
Are you lying?
You know what Jeff paid me, everybody?
Well, what did Jeff pay you?
Kindness. No, but also, the only thing I asked you for was honestly to go to your studio, watch you record, and send me some baby pictures. Because that's what we need for the story, right? We need the visuals. So for anyone watching out there, this is not just me. This is for journalists around the country, every single news station, every single network. We do not get paid for the stories we cover by our subjects. The only person paying me is my employer for doing the job. So we cannot accept money. It's against the rules. It's not allowed. It's against our contract. So technically it's legal to do that. I would, get fired and probably get sued. I don't know the technicalities of it all, but our sources, meaning people we interview, they do not pay us. We cannot accept money. I can't even accept money for hosting events like around the community,
You didn't get paid for doing that. What was that, like breast cancer?
Oh, Alzheimer's walk. No, it's charity. It's me donating my time. So
wow.
Yeah, it's very strict, and that's fine. We're people in the community. We're just, like the people who are watching us on the news. So for those wondering, for those who are curious, Jeff paid me for that story. He did not.
Actually, I did the story because your dad scares me.
Oh, why?
And I wanted it so like he wouldn't beat me up.
Well, my dad is so nice. He would never do that to me.
He looks like he played linebacker for the San Diego Chargers. I mean, I know he didn't, but he just he looks intimidating. But what made you decide to pursue a career in journalism?
Yeah, I always like to write. I always like to talk to people. and tell stories. I'll put it as simple as that. And I didn't know exactly that journalism was what I wanted to do when I got to college, but I took a journalism class and just kind of developed a passion for the field, and it's worked out ever since.
Is that why you took 5 internships?
Yes, I actually had, let's see, was it 5?
It was like 5 or 10 or something.
4 or 5, and that
It
is
was-
like totally above and beyond what most students do. And you don't have to do that, but I did it because I wanted the most experience. I wanted to network, and I always valued real world experiences. Those internships confirmed for me that this is a field that I wanted to be in, by watching and doing.
You graduated from USC?
I did. I got my master's from USC and my undergraduate degree from Cal State Fullerton.
You have a master's?
I do have a master's degree, yes.
And why is that not like above your head right now?
I think my mom has it stored away in an envelope or something. She does have my undergraduate degree hanging up on the wall. But
Yeah, when I create a platinum record, I'm going to get a plaque. Parisi's going to get a plaque because he's probably going to engineer it. And then I'm going to give one to my parents too.
that's a great idea. Have one in your home and have one in your parents' home.
Yeah, because I'm going to be like, dude, I did it.
Well, I'm so proud of you, Jeff. I know you're going to go far. I just appreciate you reaching out to me and asking me to chat with you, 1 year later, 2 years later, about the story. Once again, one of my favorite stories I've ever been able to report on. I actually shot it by myself. Remember when I showed up all by myself with my huge camera? I had no idea what I was doing, but
Dude, I had no idea how you did that, or because getting to 777 at the time, there was a windy road.
yeah, I was terrified, but I was like determined to go down to that music studio and meet you.
And I told Parisi, I was like, dude, she's not going to be able to get here. We might have to go get her because it's way spread out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it was the middle of nowhere, but hey, we did it and we got it done. I'm so glad it's still doing well and racking up those numbers on YouTube.
Thank you. Now I'm monetized, so now I can rack up numbers and get paid for it too.
That's great, as you should be.
Don't skip those ads, people.
As you should be. Don't skip those ads. Watch them all the way through so Jeff can get his coins.
I need all those coins. So if anyone watching this right now wanted to pitch you a story, how would they be able to reach you?
That's a great question. Email's great. contact@tyramajors.com, or you can go to my Instagram account, or any of my social media. All of my handles are @TyraMajors. You can send me a message through my website, tyramajors.com. It's TYRAHMAJORS. Thank you. Thanks for that plug. Appreciate it.
You're my favorite Tyra.
Oh, yeah.
Some people like Tyra Banks. I like Tyra Majors.
And you're my favorite, Jeff. Thank you so much. This was so fun.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, just to all your followers, keep supporting him. He's doing great things, not only making great music, but also inspiring the world. And he's so kind. And no matter who you follow, make sure they're nice and kind people, because they're not kind if they're not spreading kindness. In my opinion, they really aren't serving much.
That breaks my heart, because one of the main artist that got me into making music was Kanye West, and he's kind of having a mental breakdown right now, and it's heartbreaking knowing that I followed him for so many years, like 15, 16, 17 years, and he's just kind of having a mental breakdown.
It's tough to see, but everyone goes through things, and all we can do is, as individuals, is just to spread that kindness and hope to other people.
All right, well, thank you for your time.
Thank you for your time.
And thank you for everything. And I knew you got up early today at 1 a.m, so I'm gonna let you go to bed now.
Go to sleep at 1 p.m. at noon. I'm so lame.
Well,
all right. Thank you so much, Jeff.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.